Child trafficking is a grave violation of human rights, affecting millions of children worldwide. It involves the recruitment, transportation, harboring, or receipt of a child for the purpose of exploitation. This exploitation can take many forms, including forced labor, sexual exploitation, forced marriage, organ harvesting, and illegal adoption. Children, due to their vulnerability and dependence on adults, are particularly susceptible to trafficking. Traffickers prey on their innocence, exploiting their needs and aspirations for their own illicit gain. The issue of child trafficking knows no geographical boundaries, affecting both developing and developed countries alike. Poverty, lack of education, and social inequality create an environment where children are more vulnerable to exploitation. Discrimination based on factors such as gender, ethnicity, and caste can further exacerbate their vulnerability. The global nature of this crime necessitates a coordinated international response to effectively address this issue. Traffickers employ various deceptive and coercive tactics to entrap children in their web of exploitation. These methods are often sophisticated and well-planned, making it difficult for authorities to detect and intervene in time. They often target children from impoverished backgrounds, promising them better lives, education, or employment opportunities. These promises are designed to exploit the vulnerabilities and hopes of both the children and their families. These false promises lure unsuspecting children and their families into a dangerous trap. The traffickers may pose as legitimate recruiters, offering what seems like a genuine chance for a better future. Once recruited, children are often transported far from their homes and families, making it difficult for them to escape or seek help. The journey itself can be perilous, with children often enduring harsh conditions. They may be moved across borders clandestinely, hidden in vehicles or using forged documents. This illegal movement further complicates rescue efforts and increases the children's isolation. The trauma of being separated from loved ones and thrust into unfamiliar and hostile environments exacerbates the psychological damage inflicted upon these children. They often feel abandoned and hopeless, with no clear way out. Physical violence, threats, and intimidation are common tools used by traffickers to maintain control over their victims. These methods ensure that the children remain compliant and too terrified to seek help. Children may be subjected to beatings, starvation, or confinement as a means of coercion and subjugation. These brutal tactics break their spirit and make them more dependent on their captors. The constant fear and threat of violence keep them trapped in a cycle of exploitation. This relentless environment of terror ensures that the children remain under the traffickers' control, with little hope of escape. Child traffickers come from all walks of life, and their motivations are as diverse as their backgrounds. Some traffickers are driven by personal gain, while others are coerced into the trade by larger criminal organizations. Some are driven by greed, seeking to profit from the exploitation of vulnerable children. They see these children as mere commodities, a means to an end. Others may be involved in organized crime networks where child trafficking is just one of many illicit activities. These networks are often complex and far-reaching, making it difficult to dismantle them. The victims of child trafficking are often the most vulnerable members of society. They are targeted because they lack the means to protect themselves. They may be children living in poverty, fleeing conflict zones, or displaced by natural disasters. These children are often desperate for safety and stability, or lacking access to education and opportunities. Without education, they have limited options for a better future, making them easy targets for traffickers. Many are tricked or coerced into trafficking situations, believing they are being offered a chance for a better life. Traffickers often use false promises to lure them in. Girls are disproportionately affected by child trafficking, often exploited in the sex industry or forced into early marriage. They face severe physical and emotional abuse. Boys are also vulnerable, frequently trafficked for forced labor in industries such as agriculture, where they work long hours under harsh conditions, mining, and construction. These boys are often subjected to dangerous and grueling work with little regard for their safety or well-being. Regardless of their gender, all victims of child trafficking suffer unimaginable trauma and abuse. They endure physical, emotional, and psychological scars that can last a lifetime. The story of Lakshmi, a young girl from Nepal, highlights the brutal reality of child trafficking. Her journey began in a small village where she lived with her family in poverty. Desperate for a better life, her family was easily deceived by traffickers who promised a bright future for Lakshmi in India. Lured by the promise of a well-paying job in India, Lakshmi was sold into a brothel, where she endured horrific sexual abuse for years before being rescued. The conditions were inhumane, and the trauma she experienced left deep scars that will take a lifetime to heal. Her story is a stark reminder of the devastating impact of this crime on its victims. Lakshmi's resilience and eventual rescue highlight the importance of ongoing efforts to combat child trafficking and support survivors. Similarly, Kofi, a young boy from Ghana, was trafficked to a cocoa plantation in Côte d'Ivoire. His family, struggling to make ends meet, fell prey to traffickers who promised Kofi a better future. Forced to work long hours in hazardous conditions, Kofi was denied education and access to healthcare. The grueling labor took a toll on his young body, and the lack of education limited his future prospects. His story sheds light on the plight of millions of children exploited in forced labor around the world. Kofi's experience underscores the urgent need for global action to end child labor and trafficking. These are just two examples among countless others, each representing a life shattered by the cruelty of child trafficking. The stories of Lakshmi and Kofi are a call to action for all of us to work together to protect vulnerable children. Every story is a testament to the urgent need for action to protect children from this heinous crime. By raising awareness and supporting anti-trafficking initiatives, we can help prevent more children from falling victim to this atrocity. The impact of child trafficking on its victims is profound and long-lasting. Children subjected to trafficking often experience severe physical, psychological, and emotional trauma. The abuse and exploitation they endure can have devastating consequences for their health and well-being. Physically, children may suffer from malnutrition, sexually transmitted infections, and injuries sustained during forced labor or abuse. Psychologically, they may develop post-traumatic stress disorder, anxiety, depression, and even suicidal thoughts. The scars of trafficking can linger for a lifetime. Many survivors of child trafficking struggle to reintegrate into society after their ordeal. They may face stigma, discrimination, and lack of access to support services. The trauma they have endured can make it difficult to form healthy relationships, pursue education, or find stable employment. A crisis of unfathomable proportions. The International Labor Organization estimates that globally, millions of children are trapped in forced labor, with millions more believed to be victims of commercial sexual exploitation. These figures represent a staggering human rights crisis that demands immediate attention. The Asia-Pacific region is estimated to have the largest number of children in forced labor, followed by Africa and Latin America. However, child trafficking is a global problem, affecting countries in every region of the world. No country is immune to this crime. Despite the significant progress made in recent years, much more needs to be done to combat child trafficking. Increased funding for law enforcement, victim support services, and awareness-raising campaigns is crucial to effectively address this issue. Turning the tide. Combating child trafficking requires a multifaceted approach involving governments, law enforcement agencies, non-governmental organizations, and individuals. Collaboration and coordination among these stakeholders are essential to effectively address this complex issue. Governments play a crucial role in enacting and enforcing legislation that criminalizes child trafficking and protects victims. They must also allocate adequate resources to law enforcement agencies to investigate and prosecute traffickers. International cooperation is vital to dismantle trafficking networks that operate across borders. NGOs play a critical role in providing support and assistance to victims of child trafficking. They offer shelter, medical care, counseling, and legal aid to help survivors rebuild their lives. They also conduct awareness-raising campaigns to educate communities about the dangers of trafficking and how to identify and report it. Resources. Numerous organizations worldwide are dedicated to combating child trafficking and supporting survivors. These organizations provide a wide range of services including emergency shelter, medical care, counseling, legal aid, and vocational training. The United Nations Children's Fund is a leading organization working to protect children from violence, exploitation, and abuse, including trafficking. Their website provides valuable information on child trafficking, as well as resources for victims and those seeking to help. The International Organization for Migration is another key player in the fight against trafficking. IOM works to combat trafficking, assist victims, and promote international cooperation on migration issues. A call to action. We all have a responsibility to protect children from trafficking. By raising awareness, supporting organizations working to combat this crime, and being vigilant in our own communities, we can all contribute to creating a safer world for children. Educate yourself and others about the issue of child trafficking. Learn how to identify the signs of trafficking and report any suspicions to the appropriate authorities. Support organizations working to combat trafficking by volunteering your time or donating to their cause. Remember that even small actions can make a difference. By working together, we can create a world where all children are free from the threat of trafficking and exploitation.